All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. We loved with a love that was more than love. Words have no power to impress the mind without the exquisite horror of their reality. I became insane, with long intervals of horrible sanity. Believe nothing you hear, and only one half that you see. The believer is happy. The doubter is wise. Never to suffer would never to have been blessed. Years of love have been forgot, in the hatred of a minute. The boundaries which divide life from death are at best shadowy and vague. Who shall say where the one ends, and where the other begins? Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary. They who dream by day are cognizant of many things which escape those who dream only by night. Beauty of whatever kind, in its supreme development, invariably excites the sensitive soul to tears. I would define, in brief, the poetry of words as the rhythmical creation of beauty. A wise man hears one word and understands two. I have great faith in fools, self-confidence my friends will call it. Stupidity is a talent for misconception. I was never really insane except upon occasions when my heart was touched. Happiness is not to be found in knowledge, but in the acquisition of knowledge. It is a happiness to wonder, it is a happiness to dream. Words have no power to impress the mind without the exquisite horror of their reality. The 99 are with dreams, content but the hope of the world made new, is the 100th man who is grimly bent on making those dreams come true. There is no exquisite beauty without some strangeness in the proportion. It is by no means an irrational fancy that, in a future existence, we shall look upon what we think our present existence, as a dream. To vilify a great man is the readiest way in which a little man can himself attain greatness. Literature is the most noble of professions. In fact, it is about the only one fit for a man. For my own part, there is no seducing me from the path. With me poetry has not been a purpose, but a passion. I am actuated by an ambition which I believe to be an honorable one, the ambition of serving the great cause of truth, while endeavoring to forward the literature of the country. A poem deserves its title only inasmuch as it excites, by elevating the soul. The best things in life make you sweaty. From childhood's hour I have not been. As others were, I have not seen. As others saw, I could not awaken my heart to joy at the same tone. And all I loved alone. All religion, my friend, is simply evolved out of fraud, fear, greed, imagination, and poetry. Man's real life is happy, chiefly because he is ever expecting that it soon will be so. That man is not truly brave who is afraid either to seem or to be, when it suits him, a coward. Sleep, those little slices of death, how I loathe them. To die laughing must be the most glorious of all glorious deaths. The death of a beautiful woman is, unquestionably, the most poetical topic in the world. In reading some books we occupy ourselves chiefly with the thoughts of the author, in perusing others, exclusively with our own. How many good books suffer neglect through the inefficiency of their beginnings? Deep in earth my love is lying, and I must weep alone. I have, indeed, no abhorrence of danger, except in its absolute effect, in terror. Invisible things are the only realities. Lord, help my poor soul. The true genius shudders at incompleteness, imperfection, and usually prefers silence to saying the something which is not everything that should be said. Music, when combined with a pleasurable idea, is poetry. Music without the idea is simply music. The idea without the music is prose from its very definitiveness. If you wish to forget anything on the spot, make a note that this thing is to be remembered. I wish I could write as mysterious as a cat. It will be found, in fact, that the ingenious are always fanciful, and the truly imaginative never otherwise than analytic. There is no beauty without some strangeness. It is the nature of truth in general, as of some wars in particular, to be richest when most superficial audience has not yet taught us if madness is or is not the sublimity of the intelligence. And so being young and dipped in folly I fell in love with melancholy. Even in the grave, all is not lost. There are chords in the hearts of the most reckless which cannot be touched without emotion. I intend to put up with nothing that I can put down. Mysteries force a man to think, and so injure his health. Art is to look at, not to criticize. To elevate the soul, poetry is necessary. I dread the events of the future, not in themselves but in their results. There are some secrets which do not permit themselves to be told. I remained too much inside my head and ended up losing my mind. Men have called me mad, but the question is not yet settled, whether madness is or is not the loftiest intelligence. A short story must have a single mood and every sentence must build towards it. Let my heart be still a moment and this mystery explore. I felt that I breathed an atmosphere of sorrow. There is an eloquence in true enthusiasm. Where the good and the bad and the worst and the best have gone to their eternal rest. The depth lies in the valleys where we seek her, and not upon the mountain tops where she is found. To observe attentively is to remember distinctly. It is far more easy to get up than to come down. He who pleases is of more importance to his fellow man than he who instructs. I would define, in brief, the poetry of words as the rhythmical creation of beauty. And have I not told you that what you mistake for madness is but over-acuteness of the sense? Because it was my crime to have no one on earth who cared for me, or loved me. My heart beat calmly as that of one who slumbers in innocence. I smiled, for what had I to fear? It will be found, in fact, that the ingenious are always fanciful, and the truly imaginative never otherwise than analytic. A million candles have burned themselves out. Still I read on. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. That pleasure which is at once the most pure, the most elevating and the most intense, is derived, I maintain, from the contemplation of the beautiful. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor, shall be lifted, nevermore. Convinced myself, I seek not to convince. The agony of my soul found vent in one loud, long and final scream of despair. Love like mine can never be gotten over. The customs of the world are so many conventional follies. For all we live to know is known. Be nothing which thou art not. The scariest monsters are the ones that lurk within our souls. Misery is manifold. The wretchedness of earth is multiform. Reaching out to her is like drinking from a memory. The memory of the past happiness is the anguish of today. If you are ever drowned or hung, be sure and make a note of your sensations. A judge at common law may be an ordinary man, a good judge of a carpet must be a genius. All suffering originates from craving, from attachment, from desire.